Hello guys, it's Prajna. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be breaking down a very powerful solo DPS build for PVE. This is a setup that brings together one of the most viable exotic gear pieces with one of the most powerful DPS gear sets in the Division 2. The Lexington assault rifle works so well with this build, and the damage you can put out is incredible, to say the least. So you should find it very easy to clear heroic content with this setup. So clearing heroic bounties, control points, and all that jazz. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into the full breakdown and I'll show some more gameplay footage towards the end. So this is an Ongoing Directive setup that works really well with the Memento Exotic Backpack. Ongoing Directive is extremely powerful and will give you hollow point ammo, which amplifies weapon damage by 20% while applying bleed to the enemy. What's even better is that this weapon damage bonus gets bumped to 50% with the Ongoing Directive vest talent, which I'll touch on in a moment. But for the primary weapon, I'm using the Lexington assault rifle. This weapon is one of the best ARs in the game currently, and it was actually gifted to veteran players recently. But if any of you don't have it, no worries, because I'll show you some alternatives. For the weapon talent, I'm using Sadist, and I'll touch on why this is a great talent to use with this build in just a second. But with Sadist, your weapon damage gets amplified by 30% to bleeding enemies. And get this, after 4 kills, you will apply bleed to the next enemy you hit, which is really nice. So this is a 4-piece Ongoing Directive build. And just for those who didn't know, 2 pieces of Ongoing grants 15% status effect damage, 3 pieces grants 30% reload speed, and 4 pieces will unlock the Rules of Engagement talent. So with this talent, shooting an enemy that has a status effect on them will apply a mark that lasts for 10 seconds. And by killing a marked enemy, your active weapon will get a full clip of hollow point ammo. And the hollow point ammo will amplify your weapon damage by 20%. But with the Ongoing vest equipped, the amplified weapon damage is further increased to a whopping 50%. And this is thanks to the talent Parabellum rounds. Also, hitting an enemy with hollow point bullets applies a bleed status effect to them, which will activate the Sadist weapon talent, further amplifying weapon damage by 30% to bleeding targets. So this is why Sadist is a great weapon talent to use. Now, since you can only apply a mark to an enemy with a status effect, I decided to go with the gunner specialization for the Banshee Pulse, which applies the disorient status effect. This not only helps with getting your hollow point ammo from the ongoing set, but it also helps with crowd controlling NPCs, right? And the 10% armor on kill bonus is nice to have as well. For the backpack, the Memento Exotic bag is a great addition because it will basically increase your overall weapon damage even more while adding armor regen and skill efficiency. This backpack is extremely viable for PvE builds, so enemies you kill will drop a trophy. Collecting these trophies will provide both a short and long-term buff. The short-term buff will last for 10 seconds and scales with the number of core attributes you have equipped. So if you have 2 red core attributes, for example, well then that would be 10% increased weapon damage you get for 10 seconds. And I actually have 2 red core attributes with this setup. I'll get to the attributes on the gear pieces in a moment, but for the holster, I'm using the Picaro's holster for the 10% increased weapon damage. You can also use a Fenris Group AB, which gives 10% assault rifle damage, so that's a good alternative. In fact, that would actually be a better option since the Picaro's holster got nerfed, because with a Fenris Group holster you can have 2 attributes. And the Picaro's holster can hold 2 attributes as well, but the second will always be weapon damage, so you can't have both critical hit damage and chance. So I have critical hit damage rolled on mine. Also, I'm pretty sure 10% weapon damage has the same value as 10% assault rifle damage, so that would make Fenris a better option. Now for the secondary weapon, I'm using the Carnage, which comes with the talent Perfect Sadist. So weapon damage gets amplified by 35% to bleeding targets as opposed to 30% from the normal Sadist. Okay, so for the attributes on the gear pieces, critical hit chance on the mask, vest, and knee pads, and critical hit damage on the gloves and Picaro's holster. And for the mod slots, critical hit chance on the mask, vest, and backpack. And for the stats, 53% critical hit chance and 77% critical hit damage. The critical hit damage is on the low side, but the damage increases from both the ongoing set and Sadist makeup for it. Not to mention the damage bonus from the Memento Backpack stacks as well, because for every trophy you collect with Memento, you gain 1% weapon damage and skill efficiency, and like 0.1% armor regen, and since max stacks is 30, that's an extra 30% increased weapon damage. For the skills, I'm using the decoy as my primary, and the Banshee Pulse for my secondary, but if you're solo, you can try the Reviver Hive just in case you go down. So again, the Banshee Pulse is great because it will not only stun the enemies temporarily, but it will also help get you the hollow point ammo, because remember, shooting a status affected enemy will apply a mark, and killing a marked enemy grants a full clip of hollow point ammo. Now, I haven't decided on what modifiers to run with this yet because I'm not gonna lie, I've been kind of lazy lately, but if there's any modifiers you guys would like to use, then go for it. Now, if you don't have the Lexington Assault Rifle, then a couple great alternatives are the CTAR and F2000. Both these weapons are great alternatives. The F2000 is a great weapon and it has the same RPM as the Lexington, so it makes for a great alternative. The only downside that I can think of is the low accuracy and stability when compared to the Lexington. The F2000 can be crafted at the crafting station if you have the blueprint for it, which you can get from farming control points on challenging or heroic. So if you happen to have the blueprint for the F2000, just make sure it has damage to target out of cover or damage to armor. Damage to armor may be better, but on second thought, NPCs like to rush a lot, so they aren't always in cover. So if you end up crafting an F2000 with either of those two attributes, then you can just roll Sadist on it, or vice versa. Now the CTAR, on the other hand, is in my opinion the better option between the two. However, there isn't a blueprint for this weapon, so it can't be crafted. Another thing to mention is that the CTAR is very similar to the Police M4 and has a slightly higher RPM than the Lexington, which makes it another great alternative. However, the Lexington still beats both these weapons in overall performance. So there you have it, guys. Give these builds a try and let me know what you think. Also, I do have a channel Discord server, so if anyone is interested, feel free to join, and I really hope you bring pizza. I'm just kidding. But anyway, the link will be in the description of this video, and if you can't find it, you can check the banner on the channel page. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed the video, and if you guys have any questions, please leave them for me in the comment section. Good luck farming, guys, and like always, keep it cool, keep it classy, and see you in the next video. Peace out, guys.